we're going to be looking at some fan-made agents in Valorant. Things that I think should be in the game, or maybe we can draw inspiration from. We're going to start off with Quantum and just let it cook because this guy's design and thought process is really cool. And I'm throwing in my own ideas as well with some featured editing to give you guys the best visual possible. And let me just say, I want Quantum in the game. I want him in the game. Let's go. Now, Quantum's biography is emerging from deep within the shadows of Kingdom. The rogue operative, Quantum, creates opportunity through bringing uncertainty in the battlefield, forcing caution through his presence, capitalizing on carelessness in the heat of engagements is Quantum's modus operandi. Operandi, I think. Anyways, ability number 1 is Paradox. Summon a destructible clone that can be placed in a stationary position or set to move on a path, stopping once a wall is collided with it. Here's a little in-game on what the clone would look to you, but of course to the enemies, it would look exactly like your player.
Stay in sight. Stay in sight.
Now this one is extremely hard to imagine because again, when it comes to clones, how do we make something different or unique from, you know, Yoru? This one is actually kind of easy. This one, imagine instead of just placing a clone, it opens like Brimstone's iPad and you choose where the clone will deploy. Furthermore, you can either just click and it'll deploy, or you can choose where it'll end and then it'll draw an auto path where the clone will walk to. It will literally walk path to path. Then if it's shot, either it'll disintegrate, meaning choosing path to path is already a strong enough fake and being able to do it like cross map is already strong enough. Or if you really want to get crazy, which it'll be too strong, but it'll be really cool, is once it's shot, it kind of defragments and in a small area creates paranoia, similar to how Omen's effects are. Right? Just in the radius, it goes boop and creates paranoia in that area. Oh my god, that'd be so sick, dude. iPad choosing, deciding how the clone operates or where it walks, and then it fragments and explodes into paranoia. Sounds so cool. The next ability is called Rift. Open up a breach in space that Quantum can, at any time, travel back to by pressing Q. While the skill is in use, the rift lasts 20 seconds and can be destroyed. This is literally a Yoru clone. This was made way before Yoru, but to be honest, it's also just not that bad to have something similar to a Yoru clone. Maybe, you know, to make it a little bit different. Oh my god, placing it on map would be too strong. It'd be kind of crazy, but it would be too strong. Either you can do it just like a Yoru clone where you can just place it down, but it can't slide, so it's a little bit weaker. You just got to place it down flat, and then you can teleport back to it. It's not a huge deal to have something that overlaps. Or this would also be broken, but I'm just imagining these like quantum effects where he like disintegrates and reappears. Imagine at any point, instead you have a one use, you open up that iPad again, you click on your ally, and you disintegrate and spawn next to your ally. Imagine. It'd be useless if your last one left, so it has a weakness, but if your ally's on one site, you can continue to fake another. You click on them, disintegrate, and pop up next to them. You can make it maybe a little bit slow and you're vulnerable, so if they get peeked, flashed, or completely start getting pushed, they can get countered. You can make it kind of loud so it gives away the ally's position. You can do something like that to balance it. But the thought process, am I right? I think that'd be kind of cool. The next one is Dimensional Tear, and you're going to be noticing a trend here. It all has a iPad-like game set similar to Brimstone, which, you know what, I would love to get another of. Anyways, Dimensional Terror, amazing icons, by the way. Open up a map and mark 3 beacons on the map with mouse 1 and then deploy them with mouse 2. Screens deploy between each beacon, blocking vision. Max distance between each beacon is 15 meters, which is actually massive. Now, to actually give you guys a visual is very hard. I thought of like, imagine multiple harbor walls together. In this case, with my example, I made a square. It should have just been 3 beacons, so maybe like a triangle, but you kind of get the idea. You can make this triangle beacon area in which you block off a lot of visions. Maybe it'll protect a plant, a diffuse from all different angles, and I think it would definitely create a unique shaped smoke. I don't know what angles it would completely block. I don't know how high it should be. Obviously, instead of like water, it'll be like Cyborg, kind of similar like Cypher's cage, but the concept is hard to imagine, but also easy to imagine. Does that make sense? Like a big triangular smoke is not hard to imagine, but because we don't have an oddly shaped smoke like that or vision blocking like that, we just have walls or circles, it's hard to imagine what it will block, if that makes sense. I don't know from a tactical perspective, but hey, unique ideas always take the W. The final ability is tunneling. Oh my goodness, this one's crazy. It's impossible to ever add this into Valorant, and it shouldn't be added. But can we just go on a imaginative spree together, because it's insane. Open up a passage between open spaces on a surface, allowing all agents, bullets, and abilities to pass through it for 30 seconds. So how do I even visualize this for you? He has an amazing picture which does the job for me, but I'm still gonna try to show it in game. Basically, imagine I go to a wall, right? I go to a wall and I decide to use my ult on this wall. It creates a passage that everyone can walk through, which is too strong. Can I just say that right off of the bat? Maybe we can't put agents through there. Like, imagining cutting through the map for rotations with this ult. It's crazy. It's cool concept. And to be fair, the enemies could follow, right? You're opening the passage for both sides, and it could be really loud and show on everyone's map to be clear. My thought process here is maybe get rid of the agent part. Make it circular instead, and just allow abilities or bullets to pass through. So you can open up angles to play against, but you can't go through it, if that makes sense. So think of like, the best way I think of how the coding would work is imagine breach, right? Breach is, I forgot what it's called. Is it shock? Whatever. The one that pulses 3 times, soon to be 2 times. When it hits the wall, on the other side, it comes out. So imagine this circular area, right? It hits the wall, and on the other side, it comes out, but instead it just makes a hole. And through this hole, you can throw abilities or you can shoot. What's cool about not having agents go through is even if it's angled up, for example, it'll shoot from one side and come out the other, exposing a new angle from heaven down to main. Like, this would be insane. The amount of combo potential, the creative potential is endless. And because agents don't have to walk through, you know, it can be easier to code because you can angle it from 2 different areas and create a portal from both sides. Again, a little bit intense, and it would never be in the game because it just completely destroyed Valorant, but holy would it be fun. But that's enough about Quantum. Next up, we're going to be talking about Lola. Lola is a role which they put Faker, which is kind of a fake role, and her biography is Lola knows how to get noticed and likes to have all eyes on her. Her role is to deceive the enemy. Her diversions clear the way for her team. Can we really trust her? I really like Lola's design. It looks like it fits right into Valorant, which is insane. Like, this artwork is intense. It's so good. It's so good. Now, when it comes to her abilities, you need to keep in mind, she was here before Gecko, before Yoru's rework, for a lot of things. This is an old design. If we look at this page here, the chromatic duplication is one of her abilities. Create a static holographic double of Lola who can spot enemy in its field of view. Very useful for faking position. Now again, this was before Yoru had a clone. The idea here is once you shoot it, it turns your way and bang, but instead of shooting you, a little bit of a flag comes out. Now this would actually be incredibly weak. We didn't know this back then, but we now know with Yoru's clone, it can walk. When it hits, it gets flashed and looks your way and flashes you, etc., etc. So this would be too weak. Here's my idea. You place down this holographic duplication, and unlike Yoru's clone, it doesn't expire. Then, if you shoot it when you're peeking, it will shoot back at you, but only a single bullet counts as damage. So it'll shoot back like normal, but only 1 bullet is allowed to count as damage. So in this example here, you can, let's say, place it looking down main, and if someone's peeking, they might be forced to shoot back. They might jump peek you a couple times, and if you don't shoot or move a single time, they can sort of tell. But you could also still fake clone, which is something that's obviously popular with Yoru as well. Now, I think there need to be some balancing things, like if it's a shotgun, it'd be really strong up close, but maybe that's okay. If it's an operator, it would no scope and obviously miss you. But overall, I think the concept is really, really cool, and Riot can definitely get more creative when it comes to clones in general. The next one's kind of crazy because it's the fake spike, which is plant a fake spike, making exactly the same sounds, but not exploding. Faking a plant on a bomb site. This is a cool concept because another thing you can do is on the defender side, place the spike next to the real spike and it'll start diffusing next to it. Obviously, we know now there's Gecko, and that is exactly what Little Bro does. But this again was way before Gecko even existed. And I actually think another ability that diffuses a spike is okay because we know that it's balanced like it is with Gecko. I think this concept is okay. However, it is the fake spike that I couldn't wrap my head around. At first, I thought this is really cool. Imagine sending Lola to one site to fake a plant. Once it's planted, it starts beeping and blah, 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 but it doesn't explode. You know what I mean? You can't diffuse it and it'd be really bright pink. So as long as you get any visual on it, it'd be obvious. Then I realized they could just look at the top where the timer is, and if the timer is not initiated, they know it's a fake plant. It's like too counterable. You know what I mean? It's too obvious. So the only thing I could think of is allowing you to place down the spike Think of like how you place down a Killjoy molly, but it doesn't do anything yet when it's on attack. And wherever you plant, it'll pop up and start planting as well. Meaning if you're able to throw this, maybe like molly lineup, throw this onto one site, it'll be completely like invisible. Then you rotate to the other site and then you plant. The enemies will hear it on both sites and they won't know which site is the real bomb until they get the visual on it. Meaning you'd have to learn lineups that kind of hide the bomb. Of course, if an enemy's on site, they'll be able to tell quickly. So it would have a very niche use case, but if used right, it'd be insane. Imagine 2 people go to one site, clear it. The other 3 go to the other site. Both enemies hear both plants on both sites with 2 enemies on it. It's a 50-50 gamble. Again, it wouldn't be the greatest thing of all time, but it definitely would be a lot of fun. Her final ability, because the designer didn't make an ult for her, is Love Potion. It's a pink gas created in secret by Lola. When an enemy inhales this gas, it will fall in love with Lola. It can't shoot her, but can shoot other opponents for 5 seconds. Now, this was also really hard to imagine. I love how there's even an in-game effect on how the agent would look when they're in love with Lola in quotations. And this is how I thought about it. Basically, think like a Viper molly, right? Except when it lands, it immediately explodes on impact, not activated. We'll get something like that. It'll be semi-transparent, so you could see through it, but it'd be still some sort of smoke, and then it'd be pink, okay? So Viper molly, think like the not molly, but like the smoke hits, it explodes instantly. Pink and slightly see-through, that would be the Love Potion, right? The enemies that you hit fall in love with you for 5 seconds. So this would be something you need to line up or peek with, right? When you peek, anyone who's pink, if they shoot at you, the damage doesn't count. Now, this is a lot of hard coding, but I believe in Riot. The damage doesn't count. So imagine this, you need to clear the enemy's backside here. You get close, you lob it over, it hits, it splashes, you peek, someone's in love with you, they can't shoot back, you kill them. This isn't too crazy because it's similar to a stun or a flash. Of course, unlike those two, there's a chance you can still die, so maybe this is too strong. Maybe instead of 2 uses, it's just 1 use. Maybe it's a bigger radius and becomes the ult. I'm not entirely sure, but man, would it be satisfying. I mean, Gecko, you know, his ult completely paralyzes a group of agents who can't do anything back, but they can't do anything back in general. In this case, you just can't shoot one enemy back, meaning if you're hit but from far away, you can still peek other enemies or play against other enemies. Like, it's literally just to isolate 1v1s against Lola. So I think it's creative, maybe a little bit insane, but definitely creative. Again, you've probably been seeing these in the background. Lola's design with the lollipop. They even designed the in-game look of Lola. They have some cards. It's just crazy. The designer went insane when it comes to this agent design. Usually I cover a lot more agents when it comes to these videos, but these 2 alone were so detailed that I'm gonna cut it short here and make another video in the future. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think about these ideas, both the ones the designers and artists made, as well as my twists or my own ideas, and then give me yours down below. Because while this is a very niche part of the community, the creatives who give, take, and talk about ideas are the ones that allow this game to thrive in the long term. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.